I recently saw a screenshot. I don't know who posted this. I don't know when this was posted, but this is information I gave y'all months ago. So the post reads, Gypsy is not leaving social media because she wants a break.
It looks like Gypsy Rose is now facing serious scrutiny over potential parole violations, and this time, it's not just a routine check. Reports suggest that the director of parole is personally involved, which could mean the alleged violations are serious enough to warrant higher-level attention. For a while, many people have been frustrated, questioning why Gypsy's parole officers seem to overlook certain behaviors. But now, with the director stepping in, things might take a different turn. So, what exactly led to this increased oversight? Let's break it down. One of the biggest reasons Gypsy is under investigation appears to be tied to her social media activity. According to claims made by content creator Lauren Ree, Gypsy didn't voluntarily take a break from social media.
Gypsy's near jealousy of ex-husband moving on has also caused issues in her relationship with baby daddy Ken. They have not broken up, but their relationship is a mess.
It was reportedly ordered due to concerns over how she was using her platform. Allegedly, Gypsy had been engaging in online conflicts, making threatening remarks, and stirring up unnecessary drama. And it wasn't just personal disputes. There are reports suggesting she made direct threats toward other creators. One creator, Night Confess, claimed they reached out to both Gypsy's parole officer and the director of parole to confirm whether any action was being taken. Now, if these reports are accurate, parole officials are actively reviewing her online behavior, which could explain why her social media presence suddenly went quiet for a period. But the concerns don't stop there. Reports indicate that Gypsy didn't just make threats herself, she allegedly encouraged others to do so on her behalf.
And the director of parole. In a new video, they allege that parole is currently investigating all of the recent behavior and Gypsy has made. They assured the creators that the social media was shut down to prevent more from happening.
Several creators have claimed that she used her influence to get her supporters to harass or intimidate people who spoke negatively about her. This pattern of behavior raises questions about whether she is leveraging her platform in a way that could be considered coercive or harmful. Another issue at play is the alleged misuse of social media to manipulate narratives. Some sources claim Gypsy has been spreading misinformation about people she disagrees with, painting them in a negative light while positioning herself as the victim. Given her history, authorities may see parallels between her past behaviors and her current online conduct, which could be a serious concern when it comes to her parole conditions.
Is up to parole. Thus far, they've only given her slaps on the wrist. If this were any other parole, they would be back in prison. And the content creator that reported and spoke to the parole officer is Night Combos.
Additionally, there are claims that Gypsy has been interacting with content that promotes questionable behavior. Screenshots circulating online appear to show her liking, sharing, or commenting on posts involving controversial topics, some of which she may be prohibited from engaging with under her parole terms. If her parole includes restrictions on certain discussions, these interactions could be considered violations. Beyond that, there have been allegations that Gypsy has been orchestrating online smear campaigns against those who criticize her. Some reports suggest she encourages her followers to mass report accounts that expose or question her actions. If true, this could indicate a deliberate effort to control public perception and silence dissent.
Is being investigated by parole on the tail end of her sentence, and the director is involved. And this investigation has been going on for a while.
Something authorities may see as an abuse of her online presence. Moreover, some of her recent social media activity suggests an intentional effort to provoke controversy, possibly as a way to stay in the public eye. While some believe this is a strategic move to maintain relevance and gain sympathy, others argue that it reflects a troubling pattern of seeking control over her narrative. If authorities are interpreting her actions in this way, it could provide further justification for a stricter review of her parole conditions.
I'm wondering, why does my instructions have to be different than anyone else's? Because to me, I'm just another average bear. And I guess I'm getting a huge culture shock. So.
Let's be real, this isn't the first time Gypsy Rose has been accused of crossing a line on social media. However, what makes this situation different is the reported involvement of the director of Parole, signaling that authorities may no longer be willing to look the other way. Typically, a director of Parole only steps in when a parolee is considered a high risk to the community.
Many allegations regarding Gypsy Rose's behavior on social media, mainly TikTok. There's that infamous video she made stating she won't always be on parole, and this is a clapback to content creators.
Has repeatedly violated their conditions or has created serious concerns among law enforcement. This raises the question, has Gypsy's online behavior escalated to a level that warrants this kind of high-level intervention? It turns out that some of her alleged actions go far beyond typical internet drama. Reports suggest Gypsy has engaged in targeted harassment, either personally threatening content creators who have criticized her or encouraging others to do so on her behalf.
People are alleging that they are being harassed, that there have been threats made to them, even as far as revealing where people live, where they work, where their kids go to school.
One particularly concerning claim is that she allegedly hinted at retaliating against someone after her parole ends. If true, this raises serious concerns about whether she can separate online disputes from real-world consequences. Then there's the issue of doxing. Gypsy has reportedly shared private details about certain creators, including their workplaces and home addresses.
A lot of this behavior goes back to GRB. So the only new information to the ongoing investigation is that there's been more allegations added and the director of parole is involved. And that,
if verified, this poses a significant security risk. Posting personal information online can lead to real-life consequences like harassment, stalking, or worse. Law enforcement may view this as a form of cyber intimidation, further justifying why her parole conditions might need closer scrutiny.
that normally doesn't happen. Gypsy Rose has 2 parole officers. She has her interstate compact PO, and she has what they call a parole specialist in Louisiana. So Missouri has an agreement with Louisiana to transfer their offender here because she had her home plan set up here, her familial support, and her gainful employment.
Additionally, some of Gypsy's close friends, including Bree and Brooke, have been involved in these conflicts, allegedly acting as intermediaries in her disputes. One incident that raised eyebrows involved Bree reportedly confronting content creator Pie Pony Club at a book signing, which some perceived as an intimidation attempt. This kind of behavior is concerning because it suggests a pattern where Gypsy might be using her associates to escalate online feuds into real-life encounters.
The parole directors involved looking at all these allegations and complaints, deciding whether or not Gypsy will be going to a hearing. And I've told y'all before, allegedly, Gypsy has had warnings and she's been talked to by...
Law enforcement could interpret this as a form of coercive control, where indirect threats and intimidation tactics are used to exert influence over others. And let's not forget Gypsy's original crime also involved social media manipulation. She spent years carefully crafting a deceptive image online, which played a key role in the events that led to her mother's death.
Social media was shut down and only to be used for work purposes, like her promoting her book and her show, which didn't last long because she was on there a month later commenting and clapping back to people.
She used the internet to build relationships, manipulate narratives, and ultimately convince someone to commit a crime on her behalf. Given that history, it makes sense why authorities are closely monitoring her digital footprint now. Is she's using social media in ways that mirror her past behaviors, whether it's influencing others, fueling emotionally charged conflicts, or making implicit threats. It could be seen as a warning sign that she's reverting to familiar patterns.
did approve her being online and being on social media strictly for gainful employment purposes. Obviously, they did allow her to keep the social media. She has contracts of lifetime. Promoting on social media is part of her contracts. And
this could explain why the director of Parole is now personally overseeing her case to ensure that her online activity isn't setting the stage for something more serious. Another major factor in this investigation, the sheer amount of public attention Gypsy has received since her release. With so many eyes on her every move, people have been quick to document and report any possible parole violations. One of the biggest red flags, allegations that she's been in environments where alcohol is present, a direct violation of her parole terms.
Private social media. But GRB cannot help herself. If you do notice, if there are any rumors, allegations, somebody's bringing out the truth and shedding light on it, she is the first one to be out here clapping back either on her social.
A specific incident that caught attention was a photo of Gypsy and Ken on a date, with alcohol visible on their table. While it's unclear whether she was drinking, just being in the presence of alcohol could be enough to raise concerns with parole officials. While it's unclear whether Gypsy was the one drinking, simply being in close proximity to alcohol could technically be considered a parole violation. But beyond alcohol-related concerns, her public actions have sparked intense scrutiny. From viral videos of questionable interactions to surfaced photos that raise concerns about her compliance with parole conditions, the public has been quick to highlight any behavior that could hint at a violation.
Now, private social media, or one of her many fictitious accounts, and Ryan has confirmed that those do exist. She also has a collective group of diehard stans. These people stay on lives for hours and hours.
Given the overwhelming media coverage surrounding her release, every misstep, no matter how minor, turns into a major talking point. This adds significant pressure on parole officials, making it harder to ignore what some believe are clear violations. But this goes beyond just online speculation. Gypsy's behavior has sparked serious discussions among legal experts and former law enforcement officials, many of whom argue that her parole officers are facing scrutiny themselves.
They comment, report, and snitch videos. They have a private disagreements where they chat, and there's been some pretty heavy things and THREATS that have come out. And guys, where does it all go back to?
Social media has amplified these concerns, with various creators compiling timelines of alleged missteps and comparing them to standard parole conditions. The increased visibility makes it nearly impossible for authorities to dismiss the mounting evidence being shared online. In fact, a petition was filed in May of last year urging Missouri authorities to take action against Gypsy for alleged violations.
So, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was recently reported to her PO, and one of Gypsy's very good friends on this app, says Bree, was live on YouTube having a phone conversation with Gypsy about this violation, telling her that she should basically lie. Now, apparently, Bree didn't realize that she had already started.
The petition gained traction, fueled by public frustration over what many perceive as leniency compared to how typical parolees are treated. Critics argue that if an average parolee engaged in similar behavior, they would have already faced serious consequences. This has led to heated debates about whether Gypsy is receiving preferential treatment due to her high-profile status. Some believe that without firm intervention, she may continue to push boundaries, leading to even more significant violations.
And now it's being posted here on TikTok. I'll tag the OG poster.
They will be decided tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they need, I don't know, I feel like they should have a need.
Others speculate that the parole board is hesitant to act due to the overwhelming media attention, fearing backlash from both supporters and critics. With this level of public scrutiny, it wouldn't be surprising if authorities finally feel pressured to step in. The question remains, will the parole board take decisive action, or will they continue issuing warnings without meaningful consequences? One thing is certain, Gypsy's every move will remain under the microscope.
Like, they can just use a text. I feel like not even text message. They should have been, like, I don't know, somebody could have got hold of your phone. Like, I don't know, something. Like, because people can use, there's like all kind of crazy phone apps and everything, girl. There's phone apps that can actually send you message that you can, okay, so this phone app.
If these reports are accurate, another reason the director of parole might be personally involved is to review how her case has been handled so far. There are growing claims that her parole officers have been far too lenient, allowing her to receive multiple warnings rather than enforcing stricter consequences. Some sources suggest that this lax approach has created a pattern of unchecked behavior, with Gypsy repeatedly testing the limits of what she can get away with under parole supervision. A key example of this is when Gypsy was allegedly caught communicating with former inmates, a serious parole violation. She had previously sent a message to an ex-inmate named Millie.
You can type in like your number. Say somebody can download this app, type in your phone number, and then send a text to someone, and it'll show that it's coming from your phone, even though it's not.
Wow.
Yes, that's why I feel like there's no way they can see my expression on this. Like, I would even bring up that, be like, I absolutely did never, like, I would be like,
revealing that she had to stop accepting prison calls because she had already received a citation for doing so. If this violation was noted but no action was taken beyond a warning, it could indicate a lack of proper oversight by her parole officers. Gypsy herself reportedly acknowledged the severity of the situation, allegedly writing, "Next one, they send me back."
I would say absolutely didn't, and I feel like there has to be a way that this text message was like falsified or whatever. Like, I don't know. I would just feel like, girl, because there are ways. That's the reason I feel like at the end of the day, like, they would have to prove it, because there are ways for people to do that. There are actual apps, girl, real apps that will show us your phone number, even though it's not. Oh shit.
This suggests she knew she was walking a fine line, but still continued to push the limits of her parole conditions. Despite this final warning, she was later accused of attempting to contact her co-defendant, raising even more concerns about whether she's truly following the rules set for her release.
Is being investigated by parole on the tail end of her sentence, and the director is involved. And this investigation has been going on for a while.
If true, this would be an even more serious violation, given their history and the strict terms of her parole. Reports suggest that rather than taking responsibility for the infraction, Gypsy's friends, particularly Bree, allegedly encouraged her to twist the narrative, shifting the blame onto someone else. This raises a crucial question. Were Gypsy's parole officers truly taking these violations seriously, or were they being too lenient? The involvement of the director of parole could indicate a formal review of how her case has been handled so far.
Why does my instructions have to be different than anyone else's? Because to me, I'm just another average bear. And I guess I'm getting a huge culture shock. So,
if officials determine that her parole has not been managed with the appropriate level of scrutiny, it could lead to stricter enforcement of her conditions, or even consequences for those responsible for overseeing her supervision. With all these allegations piling up, the involvement of the director of parole could mean that officials are finally ready to reassess her case. The real question is, will Gypsy face serious consequences this time, or will she continue to receive warnings while pushing the boundaries of her parole? Let me know what you think in the comments.